Have you ever wondered why sometimes, even though you eat healthy, you still wake up with aching legs, swollen joints, or unexplained stiffness in the morning? You may be doing everything right, staying active, eating your eggs for protein, staying hydrated, yet the pain persists. For many older adults, this mystery is not about what you eat, but how you combine certain foods. And one of the most surprising combinations that can lead to chronic inflammation and leg pain is eggs with the wrong foods. Why seniors must be cautious with egg combinations. Eggs are often considered a superfood, rich in protein, vitamins like B12, and essential nutrients like choline. They support brain health, muscle repair, and energy. But as we age, our bodies become more sensitive to certain inflammatory triggers, especially when digestion slows down and the immune system weakens. For people over 60, certain food combinations, especially involving eggs, can silently ignite inflammation, leading to leg pain, joint stiffness, and even swelling in the ankles, knees, or feet. This inflammation can worsen arthritis symptoms, damage nerves, and reduce mobility, things no older adult wants to risk. Let's explore the 6 foods you must avoid pairing with eggs and why the consequences can be more dangerous than you think. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you hit that button and turn on the bell so you never miss another health tip made just for you. If you enjoy this video, type 1 in the comments. If not, type 0 to let me know how I can make better content for you. 1. Processed meats. Bacon, sausage, ham. For many older Americans, the smell of sizzling bacon in the morning is more than just breakfast. It's a memory, a ritual, a comfort. For decades, eggs with a side of sausage or ham might have been your go-to start to the day. But what if that very combination, so familiar and beloved, is quietly fueling the pain in your legs, the swelling in your knees, and the stiffness in your joints? Processed meats like bacon, sausage, and ham contain high levels of sodium nitrates, artificial preservatives, and saturated fats. These substances are not only harsh on your heart, they are powerful triggers for systemic inflammation, especially in people over 60. As our bodies age, our ability to process and detoxify these compounds slows down. The result? Inflammation builds up, particularly in the joints and muscles of the lower body, where circulation is already weakened with age. Now, add eggs to the mix. While eggs on their own are rich in nutrients, they also contain sulfur compounds that, when combined with the nitrates in processed meat, can increase levels of uric acid in the bloodstream. High uric acid is a well-known cause of gout-like symptoms, pain, redness, and swelling, particularly in the feet and knees. You may notice these symptoms more after breakfast or later in the day, not realizing they're tied to what was on your morning plate. Beyond physical pain, this silent inflammation can lead to loss of mobility, higher fall risk, and even emotional fatigue from dealing with daily discomfort. Over time, this kind of diet doesn't just rob you of strength, it chips away at your independence. So next time you're tempted to reach for that strip of bacon, pause and ask, is 5 minutes of flavor worth the flare-up that may follow? And what about that innocent slice of toast or bagel you've been pairing with your eggs for years? That too may be adding fuel to the fire. If you're still watching and finding these insights helpful, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're with me. Now let's move on to point number 2. 2. Refined carbohydrates, white bread, bagels, muffins. There's something deeply comforting about a warm piece of toast, a buttered bagel, or a soft muffin beside your morning eggs. For many of us, these are more than just breakfast foods. They're symbols of home, simplicity, and familiarity. But as we grow older, it's essential to look beyond comfort and start asking, what is this food doing to my body, especially my legs, joints, and energy? Refined carbohydrates, like white bread, bagels, and muffins, are stripped of their natural fiber and nutrients. When eaten, they break down quickly into sugar, causing sharp spikes in blood glucose levels. These sudden spikes trigger a reaction in the body. Your immune system sees this sugar surge as a threat and releases inflammatory messengers to try and protect you. Over time, these messengers wear down the soft tissue in your joints, especially in weight-bearing areas like the knees, ankles, and feet. For seniors whose circulatory and metabolic systems have naturally slowed, these blood sugar fluctuations become more dangerous. The inflammation caused by these refined carbs isn't just temporary, it becomes chronic, settling in your legs and making every step feel heavier, more painful, or simply exhausting. When you combine eggs, a dense source of protein and fat, with refined carbs, your digestion slows even more. This creates a buildup of inflammation in the gut, which spreads through the bloodstream and often finds its way into the joints, especially those already weakened by age or arthritis. So while it may seem harmless to enjoy that fluffy slice of white toast with your scrambled eggs, it could very well be the quiet cause behind your morning stiffness or the swelling in your feet by evening. The pain that seems to come from nowhere might be coming from your plate. But if refined carbs are dangerous, what about that creamy, savory layer of melted cheese many add to their eggs? You may want to think twice before the next sprinkle. 3. Cheese, especially processed or melted cheese. There's something undeniably satisfying about a warm, cheesy omelet or scrambled eggs topped with gooey melted cheese. For many older adults, cheese has long been a comfort food, creamy, rich, and familiar. But what most don't realize is that this seemingly harmless addition could be silently contributing to the very pain and stiffness they struggle with daily. As we age, our bodies grow more sensitive to inflammation, and unfortunately, processed cheeses, the kind often used in breakfast, are full of ingredients that inflame the joints and muscles, especially in the lower body. Cheese, particularly processed or melted varieties, contains high levels of saturated fats, artificial additives, and a milk protein called casein, which can trigger inflammation in people over 60 who may already have declining gut health. Our digestive system becomes less efficient with time, making it harder to break down heavy foods. When you combine cheese with eggs, both rich and dense, it creates a slow-moving, hard-to-digest meal that sits heavily in the stomach and sends signals of distress throughout the body. The result? A cascade of inflammatory responses that often manifest as swelling in the knees, aching in the calves, or tightness in the ankles, especially after meals or upon waking. This discomfort doesn't just interfere with your ability to walk or stand. Over time, it chips away at your confidence and independence. When every movement becomes a strain, even simple pleasures like walking to the mailbox or gardening can feel daunting. And what makes it even more heartbreaking is that the cause may be sitting quietly on your breakfast plate, hidden under the guise of comfort. But cheese isn't the only hidden culprit. Some vegetables, the very ones we've long believed to be healthy, may also be fueling pain in your joints. Curious which ones could be making your symptoms worse? Let's take a closer look. If you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 1 below to let me know you're here. Now let's keep going with point number 4. 4. Nightshade vegetables, tomatoes, peppers, potatoes. For most of our lives, we've been told that vegetables are always good for us, and in many ways they are. But for aging bodies, especially those prone to joint stiffness or arthritis, not all vegetables are created equal. Take nightshades, for example, tomatoes, bell peppers, potatoes, and even eggplants. These vibrant, colorful foods are often part of a healthy breakfast, tossed into omelets or served on the side. But for many older adults, these innocent-looking vegetables may be silently stirring up pain in the joints, particularly in the legs, knees, and feet. Nightshades contain a natural chemical called solanine, which in certain people can disrupt nerve function and aggravate inflammation. As we age, our body's ability to filter and flush out these compounds weakens, especially if kidney or liver function is compromised. The result? The solanine builds up, irritating soft tissues and triggering stiffness, swelling, and even burning sensations, symptoms that often mimic arthritis or nerve damage. You may notice this pain especially in the mornings or after meals, wondering why your legs feel heavier, your knees tighter, or your feet more tender with each passing day. What's more heartbreaking is that many older adults consume nightshades with eggs, believing it to be a balanced, protein-rich meal. Yet for those with a sensitivity, this combination becomes the perfect storm. The body, already battling age-related inflammation, becomes overwhelmed, leading to chronic pain that feels sudden, but is in fact slowly built over years. You may not associate a few diced tomatoes in your omelet with the ache in your legs later that evening, but your body knows. If you've been struggling with unexplained joint pain despite eating healthy, it might be time to take a closer look at your vegetables. But nightshades aren't the only hidden danger. Sometimes it's the sweet things we add to the plate that quietly stir up even more harm. So what about that touch of jelly or your favorite fruit juice at breakfast? The truth may surprise you. 5. Sugar. Jam, jelly, ketchup, or sweetened drinks. There's something nostalgic about a little sweetness in the morning, a spoonful of jam on toast, a splash of ketchup on eggs, or a small glass of orange juice at the breakfast table. These tiny comforts feel harmless, even deserved, after a lifetime of hard work. But for aging bodies, even a modest amount of added sugar can set off a cascade of hidden damage that shows up not just in blood sugar readings, but in the form of real physical pain, especially in your legs and joints. As we age, our tolerance for sugar declines dramatically. Pancreas becomes less efficient, insulin resistance rises, and what once seemed like an innocent treat now becomes a powerful trigger for inflammation and nerve irritation. When sugar enters the bloodstream, it causes spikes in glucose and insulin that inflame the delicate tissues around the joints and blood vessels. Over time, this leads to a condition known as glycation, where sugar molecules attach to proteins in the body, stiffening tissues, damaging cartilage and narrowing blood flow, especially to the legs and lower extremities. You may not immediately connect the tingling in your feet, the burning in your calves, or the stiffness in your knees with the teaspoon of jelly you had earlier, but the body keeps score. For seniors, especially those with diabetes, prediabetes, or poor circulation, sugar is not just sweet. It's silently aggressive. It compromises healing, weakens the immune response, and delays recovery from even minor aches and strains. What begins as subtle discomfort can progress into chronic pain and mobility loss, threatening independence in ways few expect from something as innocent as a flavored beverage. And yet, sugar isn't the only sneaky threat hiding in your breakfast. Some of the most damaging effects may be coming not from what you add, but from what you cook with. That healthier butter substitute you've been using, it may be doing far more harm than good. 6. Margarine or artificial butter substitutes. For decades, we were told margarine was the heart-healthy alternative to butter, a modern solution to an age-old problem. Many seniors, with good intentions, made the switch, believing they were making a smart, safe choice. But now, science tells a very different story. Margarine and artificial butter substitutes, especially the kinds made with hydrogenated oils and trans fats, are far from harmless. In fact, they may be one of the most dangerous ingredients lurking on your breakfast plate, especially when paired with eggs. As we age, our cells become more fragile, our joints more vulnerable, and our bodies more sensitive to the quality of fat we consume. Margarine is manufactured through a process that alters the structure of fat, creating trans fats, compounds so damaging that they've been banned in many countries. These fats disrupt the body's ability to process inflammation, stiffen arteries, and interfere with nutrient absorption. When consumed regularly, especially in heated form, as when spread on toast or used to fry eggs, these fats produce oxidative stress that breaks down collagen in the joints and restricts blood flow to the legs. For seniors, the results can be devastating. Numbness in the feet, aching in the calves, throbbing knees, or even cramps that seem to come out of nowhere. These symptoms are often blamed on age or poor circulation, but in many cases, the true culprit is hiding in the very oil used to prepare breakfast. What's worse is that the damage accumulates quietly over time, making it hard to trace the pain back to the source. It's not just about cholesterol anymore. It's about inflammation, mobility, and preserving the ability to move freely without fear of falling or fatigue. And now, as you begin to see how certain foods quietly work against you, let's return to the bigger picture. What can you do instead? How can you still enjoy eggs, comforting, familiar, and nourishing, without inviting inflammation to the table? Let's bring everything together and talk about safer, smarter ways to eat for strength, comfort, and long-term freedom. 7. Why these combinations are dangerous for seniors. As we grow older, we begin to understand that not all harm comes with a warning. Some of the most damaging things in life, especially to our health, happen quietly, over time, and often by habit. The combinations of foods we've trusted for years, like eggs paired with bacon, toast, cheese, or even just a little jam, may seem harmless, even comforting. But for seniors, these pairings can quietly open the door to a deep and persistent kind of damage, chronic inflammation. And inflammation, once set in motion, becomes the root cause of so many of the struggles older adults face: aching legs, swollen joints, painful stiffness, and eventually a loss of mobility and independence. What makes these combinations dangerous isn't just the individual ingredients, it's how they interact inside a body that has changed with age. Our metabolism slows down, our digestive system becomes more sensitive, our ability to process sugar, fat, and additives weakens. What once might have been just a heavy meal in our 40s can now become a trigger for days of pain in our 70s. These foods, especially when eaten together, create a storm of chemical responses, raising blood sugar, elevating uric acid, and flooding the bloodstream with inflammatory agents that attack the joints and soft tissues. The most troubling part? Many older adults don't realize what's happening. They chalk up their pain to getting old, unaware that each meal is shaping how their body feels tomorrow. That stiffness getting out of bed, that throbbing in the knees, that uncomfortable tingling in the feet, it could all be traced back to combinations they've eaten for years without question. The pain feels mysterious, but the cause is not. But here's the good news. You have more control than you think. The same meals that once caused pain can be transformed into healing nourishment with just a few small changes. You don't have to give up eggs or the joy of a warm breakfast. You just have to know what not to pair them with. And that's where the power begins to return. One bite, one choice at a time. 8. What should seniors eat with eggs instead? There's something timeless about eggs. They're simple, nourishing, and familiar, an anchor in a world that's always changing. For seniors, eggs can still be one of the most valuable foods on the plate, rich in protein, gentle on digestion, and full of essential nutrients that support brain health, muscle strength, and energy. But the key to making eggs truly work for you in your later years isn't just in how you cook them, it's in what you choose to eat with them. Because the right combinations can help reduce inflammation, ease joint pain, and support the kind of mobility and comfort that lets you keep doing the things you love. Instead of pairing eggs with processed meats or refined breads, try surrounding them with foods that heal rather than harm. Leafy greens like spinach, kale, or arugula, lightly sautéed in olive oil, bring anti-inflammatory benefits and are gentle on older digestive systems. Avocado adds a creamy texture without the dangers of processed cheese, offering heart-healthy fats that actually support joint health. For those who want a carbohydrate, sweet potatoes or quinoa provide complex, fiber-rich energy without spiking blood sugar or triggering inflammation. Even how you cook your eggs matters. Choose steamed, poached, or lightly pan-fried in a healthy fat like olive oil or coconut oil. Avoid frying them in butter substitutes or layering on salty toppings. Keep your meals as close to the earth as possible, natural, whole, and balanced. These aren't sacrifices, they're quiet upgrades. Shifting what's on your plate is not about giving up the flavors you enjoy, but about protecting the life you've worked so hard to build. Your legs, your joints, your freedom. They're worth more than a side of bacon or a sugary spread. Food has the power to harm, yes, but it also has the power to heal. And when you start your day with the right choices, you're not just eating. You're investing in a future with less pain and more peace. Your plate holds more power than you think. At this stage in life, every decision we make, every step, every breath, every bite matters more than it ever did before. And yet, it's often the small things, like what we choose to put on our plate in the morning, that carry the greatest weight. Food is not just fuel. It is a messenger. It speaks to your body in ways words never could. It can whisper healing, or it can shout inflammation. And for many of us, the combinations we've come to love, eggs with bacon, toast, cheese, or sweet condiments, may be quietly sending messages of pain and stiffness to our joints, to our legs, to the very parts of us that carry us through life. I've lived long enough to know that comfort can be deceiving. I, too, once believed that if something tasted familiar, it had to be safe. But experience has taught me otherwise. What comforts the tongue can sometimes betray the body. As someone who has walked the long road of aging, I now see food as a kind of conversation between the past and the future. Each meal reflects where I've been, but it also shapes where I'm going. And I've learned that making wiser choices at the table can mean fewer pills on the nightstand and fewer mornings waking up wondering why everything hurts. If you've been living with unexplained leg pain, joint swelling, or just a feeling that your body is slower than it should be, I invite you to look at your breakfast not just as a routine, but as a key. Eggs can still be your friend, but only if you choose their company wisely. Your body is always listening, always responding, and it's never too late to rewrite the script. Let your food fight for you, not against you. Let your breakfast become a quiet act of self-care, a promise to your knees, your hips, your feet, that you are still choosing life, mobility, and freedom. Because even at 60, 70, 80, or beyond, your plate still holds power, and so do you. These lessons are meant to inspire you to live fully and authentically. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned and plan to apply in your own life. Let's support each other on this journey toward embracing these truths. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment with senior health tips. If not, feel free to comment with 0. Your feedback means a lot to us. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content like this. Thank you for watching, and here's to living life on your own terms.